Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the seventh episode of the Houston and Sean podcast. Today, we will be discussing conspiracy theories. So get your pants on and get ready to think about some deep stuff.
We're going to get deep tonight. So tonight we're going to talk about conspiracy theories, and we're going to be like those dudes who do podcasts in their basements, talking about conspiracies, the conspiracies of wearing aluminum foil on my hat. I'm going to play Minecraft tonight. Okay, I'm going to stop. What do you have to say to that,
Ladies and
Sean?
gentlemen, to be honest, this is not a subject we're super versed in, but we're going to kind of go with it.
We're going to talk
The
about
subjects that we were
conspiracies.
conspiracies, the subjects that we are versed in, we've already talked about. So here we go. So all of us, to some extent, believe in some conspiracies. You got to,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah,
there's so many
absolutely.
unanswered questions. So if you don't think that some things did not happen exactly as they seemed, then you're also, I would say, not all there, because in some ways, shape, or form, conspiracies have happened. I think,
Conspiracies have happened, yes.
yeah, conspiracy theories do happen. We just don't always know about them. They're hidden from us. Even if we've put it out in the open, it just becomes a conspiracy theory, but it may have actually happened.
Yeah, so in my lifetime, I've done a lot of traveling. I've lived all over, New Mexico, California, Maine. I've lived in a lot of places and I've heard a lot of crazy conspiracy theories in my life. And I've always found that if you talk to somebody about a conspiracy theory late at night, like outside, which I did one time in Maine, you get really creeped out and then like you stay up all night thinking about conspiracy theories. So I've heard a lot of
Just
crazy
finding your red
ones.
light.
Yeah. I just sit up in bed like when I was a little kid and I used to think about infinity.
So what is you used to think about what?
Infinity, like when I was a little kid,
Infinity.
but
Yeah, yeah.
I'm getting way off topic. You know what
So
I'm
let's
saying?
talk about the most famous conspiracy, which is JFK.
Yes.
Many people believe that JFK was just not randomly shot by a man, but that there was more to it. What are your thoughts, Houston?
I don't I know obviously all the basics about that, and I saw that Oliver Stone movie JFK. So like I'm one of those people that is open-minded about things. Do I think that it happened the way that it really happened? I don't know, but I'm open to the idea. Like I haven't made up my mind about it. If it
Right.
was
It might have
true,
just
you know what I mean?
right. So my grandmother was completely convinced that LBJ took JFK into Texas so that he could be, in fact, shot. It was not just the guy that killed him, who I'm blanking on his name. What is his name?
Lee Harvey
What is
Oswald.
Yeah, it wasn't just Lee Harvey Oswald. That LBJ took him into Texas, got him killed. And I think, but her and she told me that theory many times. I think some of her theory came from the fact that my uncle, her oldest son, had the privilege of going to the White House because he was the valedictorian of his class. And a bunch of valedictorians around the country came to the White House to meet LBJ. And he said that when he met him, he was very rude, just sort of shook his hand, keep moving, keep moving, you know. And I heard that story all the time. And I heard it from two witnesses. So I believe that story in the sense that, my uncle says it that way. So does my grandmother, who heard it from him, that, and it stuck with her. She was very upset with LBJ, I think, over that. But anyway, completely convinced her that LBJ uh, took JFK to Texas and got him shot.
What do you think about that? Do you think it's what
Yeah,
happened? I
maybe. I
mean,
don't. I have no opinions. Possibly, I guess.
well, I mean, a lot of it that I've heard is pretty seems pretty plausible. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I mean, I personally think it happened the way they always said it happened. So that's my opinion
Yeah,
on it.
JFK certainly was. I don't know, a young, attractive president, very different than most presidents.
Yeah, all presidents are controversial. I think there was some controversy, which there always is in every presidency. Uh,
Right.
and
LBJ was more suited as the role presented itself. I think just kind of the average president, old and, you know, old white guy. But, and one thing we do know for sure is that, when Forrest Gump went to the White House, he showed LBJ his butt, as the
yes,
Weird
that
Al
really
song
happened
says.
because Forrest Gump is a factual movie.
Yeah, I mean, if
Uh,
we're talking about conspiracies, we might as well go to the stretch. Just say it.
You see,
Forrest
you
Gump was
see
there.
the video. There's video footage of Forrest Gump sitting, talking to JFK, and sitting next to John Lennon on the Tonight Show or whatever. I mean, it's all
Mhm.
there in the footage. It was a documentary.
I I was so young when that movie was made that I had no idea that Tom Hanks was separate than Forrest Gump. To me, Tom Hanks was Forrest Gump for a long time, you know. And anyway, that is definitely off topic. All right, let's list conspiracy theory number two.
Okay, go ahead. You have the list of the conspiracies. And let me just say what
All right,
Sean said earlier. Like, I don't know a lot about conspiracy theories. This is just a topic that we're doing, but I'm interested to hear what the second one is.
let's talk about COVID-19. There's a lot of conspiracy theories around COVID-19.
Should we
One of
really
which
talk
is
about
that,
that?
yeah,
You
why
really
not?
want to talk
It's
about that?
controversial. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Ugh.
All right. Uh, 5G caused COVID-19.
Oh, I remember that one. You got to keep in mind when COVID started, there were all kinds of conspiracies going around. And yes, the one about the G5, like saying that it caused that.
Right. Because,
And
every time you make a stretch and you improve technology, there's, things go wrong, which in this case was COVID-19.
yeah,
But it
I
is a conspiracy. There's really I mean, who knows if there's a connection? Probably not.
I don't think there was at all because they only talked about it for such a short period. But I mean, I remember when
Well,
COVID
that's the thing
started,
with conspiracy theories. They try their best to, you know, pocket them, conceal them.
yeah, but do you think in this day and age, a lot of these like hiding stuff like that is really feasible with
Yeah, I'm not
technology and
sure.
social media,
Right.
But
Well,
yeah, so I don't know. What do you think about it?
I mean, even just the other conspiracies I remember from COVID-19 is that it wasn't just caught by an animal, you know, which was, I guess, the big idea was that COVID-19 got passed in Asia from an animal because they have sort of different eating patterns and so, that was a big thought. But another thought was, that it was created in a lab, and it helped presidencies and things like that. It helped the, world powers to sort of stay in power and kind of have control over us. And I mean,
Yeah.
that is a fact. We definitely had to listen exactly to the governments.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I remember thinking it was, bats. And it
Right.
was like bats. That's what I heard at first. And I remember the week COVID started, um, someone came into my workplace before my workplace shut down for COVID, and they said that the military was in the neighborhood. I was living in Newark, Delaware, and they said the military is here and they are doing martial law in case people go crazy. And of course, I believed it. And of course, I went outside and there were no military people anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. What I remember is the at first I just saw memes on Facebook that said, you know, it
Exactly. And I
said,
didn't take it seriously because of that, because I thought it was a stupid meme or a fad. That's when
yeah,
I first saw
it
all the
was
memes.
Mortal Kombat, right? It was Sub-Zero versus uh crap. You told me the guy's name in the last one.
Scorpion,
I've forgotten it again. Scorpion, right? So
Sub-Zero,
they
Scorpion.
were facing off, and then it said COVID versus my essential oils, right? So I guess one of them was essential oils, one of them was COVID, and it was like COVID is no match for my essential oils. I was like, what the heck? I don't get it. And then
Yeah.
the next thing I was in Vegas at the time, so the next thing was just people with face masks on the strip. I was like, what? What is going on? And then all of a sudden it was shut down. It was all over the place. It was the biggest pandemic. It went from 0 to 60 in 30, matter of seconds. And
And
everybody
I
was
pretty
getting
much spent all of that time running outside, and because I got laid off from my job. So I was getting those sweet paychecks every week. And I had so much money and I didn't have to do anything. And I did that. I couldn't believe it. For the first month, it was the best month of my life, dude.
yeah. Yeah.
Because I could do creative stuff. And then at night, I just like, it was good for a month. And then about like a month and a half into it, I was going completely nuts. Like, I need something to do. I need some sort of purpose, you know?
Right, right. But that's crazy that, it happened only in 2021 and nobody ever talks about it anymore.
It seems
It's like,
weird.
you
Like,
remember that thing that was COVID that was,
it's
this
like it was a
entirety
bad
of our
dream.
existence.
It's like it was a bad dream. Like it didn't happen. Nobody talks about it anymore. It's
Right.
crazy. It's crazy.
So a conspiracy theory movie that I remember was called Conspiracy Theory. It had Mel Gibson and Julia Roberts. Mel Gibson played sort of a I would say schizophrenic, but he wasn't really. He was just nuts, right, in the movie. I thought he played it very well.
I did not
Hey,
see that
Houston's
movie.
hair.
Sorry. I did not see that movie.
So in the movie, Mel Gibson uncovers a conspiracy theory that actually happened, that the government was trying its best to conceal. And the fact that he stumbles into it amidst all his other conspiracies, he just runs into this one conspiracy that they have to keep private and secret. And so then all the government is after him. It's great.
That
It's a
sounds like,
great
which is
movie.
basically sounds like a million other action movies, but is it a good movie? Do you recommend it?
I liked it, but I saw it when I was young, so I don't really know. I'd have to
Mm.
rewatch it to validate that suggestion. Uh,
Didn't Nicolas Cage do movies about conspiracies? Or I know that was National Treasure. That was about like a treasure or something. Never mind.
yeah, that's probably,
Never mind.
Nicolas Cage does so many movies. It's
Hey,
amazing,
I'm Nicolas Cage. How you doing?
Yeah,
Yeah, Nicolas
yeah.
Cage.
He lives right
Excuse
down the
me,
street from
huh?
me in Las
What did you
Vegas.
say? Did you ever meet him?
No, but I mean, he went into the same stores as me. I thought I'd bump into him.
Well, he used to like he spent all of his hold on.
My tax guy actually lived like in the house next to his.
Oh, really? Because I heard, Nicolas Cage ended up doing so many bad movies for a long time because he was in debt because he kept buying stupid things like, like dinosaur skeletons. And he bought the
Castles and
first
yeah.
Superman comic for $10 million. And like he was in debt and he had to do all these movies so he can make the money back.
Right. That makes sense.
He probably has
You
like
gotta do
10
what you,
houses. And the one in
yeah.
Vegas was one he probably went to like every other, I don't know, month. Who
He owned a
knows?
castle. I heard he owned a castle too. I
Right.
mean, and he probably had to sell it sometime. Like, all right, well, in order to have some money, I'll sell the castle.
It's people making too much money and they don't know what to do with it. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
yeah. All right, let's do another one. Let's do another one. Let's see. Let's do Area 51. So
Okay.
that's a pretty big conspiracy that the government uses Area 51 because to hide aliens from all of us. And if that's true, they really should not do that. We deserve to know, you know.
Yeah. Where do you think
We're
Area
born into
51,
existence and we deserve to know about aliens.
where 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 do you think Area 51 is?
Probably, you
If
mean
it's real. If you know. Well, it is real,
if it's
isn't it?
not for aliens?
Yeah.
It's probably just, a place where they house weapons and crap.
Yeah, because
It is real though.
when I was growing up and I'd go visit my dad in New Mexico during the summers, he used to tell me like Area 51's out in the desert. And then like, because he lived close to Roswell. Do you know about Roswell?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So he was like an hour away
Mm-mm.
from Roswell. So he
That's
said all
another,
the
okay, yeah, it's
UFOs.
another alien place. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Not far away. And he used to tell me Area 51 was out there in New Mexico, which I was like, I kind of believed him, but I knew he was kind of also yanking my chain a little bit. So I was trying to remember where it was because it's in a desert somewhere, basically.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, right. It's a similar idea with those two places.
Mm-hmm.
The Loch Ness Monster, that's something that Houston mentioned, which
It's
is also on
just
this list.
that whole thing came from a picture, a blurry black and white picture. Have you seen the picture?
Yeah.
And it could be anything. Like it's so grainy and like, but I always wanted to believe that it was real when I was a kid. That the lock, but it could be anything. I don't know. Am I being too skeptical, Sean?
I think, certainly in the ocean, there are tons of animals we don't really understand, the
Dude,
depths of it. But
yeah, I love I'm sorry that I keep going off into tangents, but that's how I be tonight. I used to love and I still do underwater life, like deep sea creatures. You ever get into that stuff? Marine biology?
yeah, that's amazing. I love that
Yeah,
stuff too,
I love
for
like
sure.
creepy. Those deep sea creatures are some of the creepiest things on the planet. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah. And
Creepy.
and
Like, have
just
you? Go ahead.
yeah, just the serenity of underwater, because there's, to me, in society, there's all sorts of crap that I don't want to deal with, but I have to. But,
Vice versa.
underwater,
There. Me
it's,
too, pal.
you're
Me
right.
too, pal.
So when I branched off and sort of renounced Mormonism, I thought about, you know, do I still believe in a higher power? And then I thought, well, if I do, I probably should be using my imagination, which is something I never did for 14 years in the religion, but maybe use my imagination so that the higher power and I could have a different relationship. Maybe that it could evolve. So what I did was I sort of pictured um I pictured the higher power as a parent whale. I mean, just to be blatant about it. And then I was a teenage
A
whale
whale.
and basically following around my parent whale as a whale. And I think the reason it spoke to me was because I didn't want to see God as a man because I've had so much problems dealing with mankind, me being a person, all that stuff. I just thought, the animal spirit might be better for my imagination.
Can I
And
tell
it
you
really
something?
has been. I feel like it's much more effective.
Can I
Go
tell you
ahead.
something? Yeah. It's funny you say that because I'm in recovery, and um, I didn't grow up religious or anything. And in recovery, they say you should believe in a higher power, and it has to be a higher power of your understanding. Um, so I thought at one point, well, I think I want my higher power to be like a beautiful woman, like with leaves, instead of like the old, like I used to think like whatever was up there was a guy with a beard. And so
Mm.
I started changing it, and then I started changing it to animals. Like at one point, it was like a fox. Now I don't know what it is.
Yeah, see, that's why we're brothers. I mean, to me, for 14 years, I saw when I pictured God in my imagination, it was a two-dimensional picture that I saw on the wall of a Mormon church. He did nothing. He just was like a picture of a man, just like,
Did it do anything for you?
no, eventually it was killing me. It was killing me not to use my imagination, to
Mm-hmm.
not create, to think, that God could be something more than just like a picture on a wall.
It
You know,
got
it
you
was it
thinking
was it was
outside of the
racking my
box.
soul, Houston.
It got you thinking outside of the box instead of
Yeah,
being inside where you're taping up the walls
I
when
feel
you're
like I
inside a
have been.
box.
So back to conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theory
I like when we go
number
on these
4, I think we're
tangents.
on,
I like
is
it. You know what I mean? I like when we go off on tangents.
yeah,
That's what
why
I
not?
love. I love the tangents.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Conspiracy
chill
number
here.
4 is the Flat Earth Society.
Mm-hmm.
So the flat earth is in fact a conspiracy because I think it kind of comes from the fact that when a person is just looking across the horizon, it's flat.
Can I tell you
I mean,
something? When I was 5, I believed that the Earth was flat. That's what I thought the Earth was. But then when I was 6, I realized it was round. So I feel like they're bringing that back from my childhood.
they brought it back. I mean, they brought it back from like pre Christopher Columbus. To that idea, I think it was in England that they did believe, there was that the earth was flat because they didn't know anything else.
Why? Here's the thing that boggles my mind. Why would they think it's necessary to lie about that? Like, if it was a conspiracy and the Earth is actually flat, why? What difference would it make if they? Oh no, like the government doesn't want you to find out it's flat. Why? Who cares?
Mm.
Obviously, it's round because it's round. So,
Right.
get out of your basement, stop eating all them hot pockets and, chomping them down and breathing hard.
So, so in my opinion, if one guy was a flat earth theorist, then he would just be nuts. We would put him in a hospital for nuts people and we would just leave him there. But the fact is that they are a group. They have come together, as a group of people and they sort of protect themselves, I feel like, to believe that the earth is flat because a bunch of them are believing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that pun. What is it? It's like oh man, it's been a while. Like the the flat earth society is and has to do with all around the world. Like it's like the flat earth society is but I can't remember. It's like a meme too, but yeah. It's like I can't exactly remember it, but it is an interesting idea that if you're in a group, you can basically believe anything you want. Your group has your back. You
Yeah.
you
And you
could
know what I
believe.
think it is? I think a lot of it's lonely people who are just like, well, if I believe in flat earth stuff, then these guys will let me join their club. And so maybe they don't actually believe it, but they just want to hang out and, talk with people. You know what I mean? So they hang out with the
Yeah,
flat earth people.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They're just keeping it to themselves that they believe that gravity exists and that the Earth is round. But another one is that we're all in the matrix, right? That it actually happened, that computers took over, and that we are living
In a
a fake
simulation.
reality.
In a simulation,
Yeah.
right? That's one that, like, when I was a teenager, I kind of really believed, obviously, when The Matrix came out. Because, like, and I started to really obsess over that. I don't know about you, but like, I believed it for a while. I didn't believe it, but it was in my head all the time.
Well, sometimes I'm tempted with things like the Truman Show and the Matrix to just sort of believe it because I guess I'm a person experiencing my own reality. You know, I just sort of I sort of am like, am I the star of this reality? But of course you're not. But I mean, it's like, and life is deeper than that. But sometimes it's like it's catchy to your brain,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's
that
been
lives you
stuck in there.
inside
I
your ear.
still think about it a lot.
But
Like
yeah.
I
But
often
isn't
have
isn't like
I often have existential crises thinking about like matrices and like, are we living in a simulation? What if this is a big one when I was a kid was, what if this is all a dream and I'm going to wake up and be a completely
right,
different person? That's a big one for
right.
me.
I think a lot of conspiracy theory has to do with the fact that we have a brain, but we don't completely understand the human brain. My uncle used to say this a lot, that the human brain is the most complex thing in the entire universe. And I sort of love that. In fact, I told my son when he was walking into kindergarten, I was like, Will, I would love it if you would just say to your kindergarten teacher that the human brain is the most complex thing in the entire universe, you know, and see what she says.
Wow.
Because I think it's it is true. It's making something that is it's just confronting the fact that it's extremely complex. We sort of see ourselves as characters in a movie, but that's not really it either. Like I'm a
Yeah, and
character
of
and I'm
course, like we
Sean,
always think that we're the
but
main character too. Nobody thinks, oh, maybe I'm just like the supporting friend in the movie, like how like a romance comedy
right,
where you're
right,
the.
right.
They always have the stupid best friend who's like,
And I think that's sort of the world revolves around me type of syndrome. And I think some
yeah,
guys have it worse than others.
yeah,
If you're good looking, if you're really strong, if you're a guy, sometimes like your ego just sort of gets to you. And
you're a
the
rock
fact that,
star, rock star.
yeah,
By the way, I want to tell
right.
you something. I want to tell you something, Sean, buddy.
Okay, go ahead.
This is maybe this is weird, but I wore these especially for the podcast.
Oh,
They are
yeah, yeah.
Bigfoot socks. Well, it's upside
Yeah.
down, but it's Bigfoot
That's it.
crossing.
Bigfoot Xing. I like it.
And guess what?
What?
I didn't wear this for the podcast. I just was wearing them because
Oh,
I love. Now I'm kidding.
you tricked me.
I
Oh,
just
now I'm getting
love.
tricked that I was tricked.
Yeah, because you and I were actually debating last night whether or not Bigfoot is a fable or a conspiracy theory. And I guess
Right.
you ruled it out that it's a fable, and I tend to agree
But
with that.
I was looking at this site and it lists Bigfoot, so I'm sort of a little bit back and forth on it.
Mhm.
Now, Bill Gates is making fake snow. There's all sorts of crap.
He is
Let's
so
look.
bored. Bill Gates. He would make fake snow just because he can afford it. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Right, yeah, right. Let's see. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we used to have Houston on the podcast. I'm trying to find a good next conspiracy theory while Houston does something over there. Hmm. Uh, I guess I could try to oh, there it is.
I'm sorry, was that complete dead air or were you talking?
It was, yeah, no, it was very boring. I apologize to all the people that are watching.
You know what I think? And I didn't mean to do that, but I had to use the bathroom. Always thought
You're
like,
gonna
wouldn't it be
rewatch this and be like, man, he does not have a lot to say. I need to find a new co-host.
Like
I was about to freestyle rap about conspiracy theories,
well, that's
but
what I wanted you to do. And I always thought it would be funny if we did a podcast and I just went off camera and just to see what Sean does. You know what I mean? While I'm
oh
off
man, it was
camera.
horrible. Yeah, I
Like it's
bombed it.
like
Fail.
eventually you're probably just
Epic
gonna
fail.
eventually you'll just start humming to yourself like I'm Sean waiting for Houston.
Yeah. People are like, yeah, he's gonna need to get an hourly wage job that the Sean, that person on that podcast, Houston can get promoted to like world fame. But yeah, so
We
that was
yeah.
episode 7, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. We've been like that's been about 45 minutes. What
Has
do
it
you think?
really
Should we
already?
I feel like
Okay.
I don't
45
know.
minutes.
What do you got? What do you got? Conspiracy
That's
theory. Hit
that's
me.
that's that's all I got, man. I think we covered all the bases like we were playing a game of baseball out there and you hit a home run.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say your life is fake. I'm just kidding. Your life
We're in a
isn't real. It's
simulation.
all fake. No,
Well,
don't make
this
it
was
go insane. Just go about your lives like you don't
yeah.
know the truth.
Yeah, don't sleep tonight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, until podcast episode 8, we love you if you watched it till the end. If you did not watch episode 7 all the way, we hate you. No, just
Ba bam.
all right.